The timeless wisdom of the dervish. In the heart of Egypt, a land that has borne witness to millennia of history and great civilizations, a humble dervish once roamed the streets. Over 1,200 years ago, this wise wanderer dedicated his life to spreading joy and easing the sorrows of others. Clad in simple attire and wielding a staff, he traversed village after village, offering life-changing counsel to those burdened by hardships. One day, the dervish arrived at a village ensnared in the chains of greed and despair. The faces of the villagers were veiled in shadows of misery. Seeing their plight, he decided to establish a shop of happiness at the edge of the village. Though the shop opened its doors, no one came. The villagers believed their troubles were insurmountable and that joy was beyond their reach. One evening, standing before his shop, the dervish called out, "O servants of the Almighty! Come here. If you think you are the unluckiest person on earth, step forward and take your share of happiness, free of charge. When one door closes, the Almighty opens countless others. Trust and try, you have nothing to lose." 7 men, each trapped in the clutches of their struggles, hesitantly stepped forward. The dervish welcomed them warmly and closed the door behind them. After offering them tea, he asked each one to share his troubles while the others listened in silence. The first man's story. "My trouble is my foolish wife. She burns the food, spills the milk, and breaks household items. Recently, I gave her money for Eid shopping, but in my absence, a man selling old utensils tricked her. She mistook him for the Eid I had mentioned and handed him all the money. Though she apologizes and cries every time, the mistakes never stop. Divorce is not an option as she has no one else but me. I am at a loss, what should I do?" The second man's story. "My plight is worse. I have 4 daughters. My wife passed away during the birth of the youngest. People tell me daughters are burdens, and I have no son to help me on the farm. I feel helpless and overwhelmed by my responsibilities." The third man's story. "My sorrow is my envy. Despite being wealthy, I cannot find joy. I covet what others have and secretly wish for their downfall. My mansion is grand but lifeless, and people avoid me. I want to rid myself of this bitterness but fail every time." The fourth man's story. "My regret stems from my past. My brother pursued knowledge and wisdom, while I relied on physical strength to earn wealth through fights and wagers. Now, I am weak and sick, while my brother is respected for his intellect. I feel unworthy whenever I see him surrounded by admirers." The fifth man's story. "My flaw is my inability to keep secrets. As a fisherman, I often revealed the best fishing spots to my peers, who prospered while I remained in poverty. They moved on, leaving me behind with a broken boat and torn nets. I feel like the world's unluckiest man." The sixth man's story. "I fear darkness. As a child, I once lied to avoid venturing out at night, claiming I was robbed and beaten. My lie was exposed, and since then, no one believes me, even when I speak the truth. I feel trapped by my past mistakes." The seventh man's story. "My sorrow is my guilt. I have 3 sons, and I tried to treat them fairly. However, fearing my youngest son's gentle nature would be exploited by his brothers, I withheld his share of inheritance. Angry, he left home. Now, I miss him terribly and regret my decision, but I cannot undo the damage without causing discord among my children." After listening to their stories, the dervish asked, "Would any of you exchange your troubles for another's?" One by one, they all declined. The first man said, "A foolish wife is better than Envy. The second remarked, "Daughters can be blessings, unlike deceitful sons." The third said, "I may be envious, but I am not deceitful." The fourth stated, "I regret my choices, but I have never betrayed anyone." The fifth noted, "I cannot keep secrets, but I have my health." The sixth said, "I may fear darkness, but I value honesty now." The seventh concluded, "I acted out of love for my son, not malice." The dervish then shared wisdom with each man, teaching patience, gratitude, and trust in the divine plan. He reminded them that happiness lies not in escaping troubles but in facing them with faith and contentment. As they left, their burdens felt lighter, and their hearts were filled with newfound hope. The dervish's final words echoed in their minds. If all the world's sorrows were placed in a pile, and each person was asked to choose one, they would likely pick their own. Learn to cherish what you have and trust the journey you are on. This tale reminds us to embrace our struggles, find gratitude in the present, and strive for a meaningful life.